Hello everyone. I felt like I hadn't done a proper Copic drawing in a long time, so I had this real craving to just get something down, and I had a thumbnail sketch in my Moleskine book for a while now, and I planned to do it when I got an airbrush because I felt like I couldn't do the background until I'd actually got an airbrush system that I was already planning to get anyway. But yeah, I drew Samus in my sketchbook, and I decided that I would finally actually draw her properly, and I really just wanted to have a go with my Copics because I hadn't done anything for myself or with Copics on this scale for a while, and I just wanted to get to grips with my airbrush as well. And so I decided to pick this sketch out my sketchbook. So I lined her with a brush pen. There's two different brush pens. I did the actually there's three. There's the Pentel Brush Pen for the black lines, but there's also the Platinum Fude brush as well for the smaller black lines, and then I used the Kuretake what's it called, clean colour brush, and yeah, that's for the hair here because I didn't want to have black outlines for the hair, as I already didn't have that many great colours for blonde hair anyway. It was kind of difficult to recreate the blonde that I was after, so I wasn't too happy with the blonde hair anyway, but I decided not to do black outlines because I thought it would look far too harsh. But yeah, I have drawn Samus before, but not in her actual suit. I've just drawn her in a zero suit Samus, and I thought, you know what, I really wanted to do this, and I had a lot of fun with it actually. I'm using Express It blending card, and I absolutely love this paper so much. It's just very hard to get hold of, and the paper that I do have, the stock that I do have, is actually a gift from my friend Claire, and she sent me some more and she saved my life because it's very expensive to buy in the UK. It's imported, so it's kind of like, it's like this rare commodity, but it's probably the best paper I've ever used for Copics. It brings out the colours really well, everything blends really well, and I was just so excited to use the paper as well. I'm kind of a little bit sad like that. I get excited for paper and pens. But yeah, I also enjoyed the practice with my brush pens as well on a larger scale rather than on such a... I'm used to working A5 and under, and typically I do A6. So it was fun to work on something big for a change. While I was drawing this, I kept listening to Regretroid by Starbomb, which is probably my favourite song by them, and I just think it's absolutely hilarious. We have it on in the car, and it's my favourite Starbomb song. I mean, I just think it's absolutely hilarious. So I called it something. I gave it a lyric from the actual song on my Patreon feed, but I don't know what to actually call the finished piece yet. But I absolutely love that song so much. Oh, you'll also notice a skip that just happened there where some of the colour had already happened, but my camera kept dying on me, and the battery keeps just conking out basically without too much warning. And I don't know whether it's just the battery life is diminished quite a lot because it's not lasting very long, or if something's not going quite right with charging, but twice it's happened, and you'll notice later on when I start airbrushing the background that there's a bit that just skips, and it's really annoying because I was quite proud of the area that I'd done with the airbrushing, and the camera just switched off. I was really upset, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on my camera, maybe look at getting a replacement battery because I can't have it just die on me. At least it makes a noise when it dies. I'm aware when it dies, but it just doesn't save my files if it dies like that, so I wasn't too chuffed. But the colours I used for the hair here, like I said, I wasn't too chuffed with the blonde because I wanted it to have a bit of a cooler effect, but I ended up going with more like peachy and I actually used E21, I think, E21 and E31 and 34 to give it some more of a natural colour, I want to say. I don't really know what I'm trying to say with that, but it was difficult to get the blonde that I wanted, because when I looked up blonde colour swatches for Copic drawings, it was colours that I didn't have. So I had to just make do. Thanks, printer. Why does my printer always interrupt me? But yeah, so I just made do with the colours that I had, and it came out alright, but I felt like it doesn't have as much depth as the rest of the piece, and I took a bit of a risk with this. And I've always wanted to sort of push my experimentation with Copics a lot more, but because Bristol board isn't cheap, and Copic ink isn't cheap, and Express It blending card isn't cheap, I'm always a bit too worried that my experimentation will just result in a complete waste of time and resources. But I took a bit of a gamble with this, and I did purple shadowing on her suit, and I used E04. I really like that colour because it just seems to go really well for shading, like shading skin as well. It doesn't look like it belongs in the E0 section because the colour on the cap looks so different, but I was really happy with it. And then I noticed it was too faded for a shadow. It kind of just looked like, I kind of wanted it to look like a shadow and some kind of bounce light as well, but it looked too pale, so I decided to go with let's see, I've got a list of my Copics here on a post-it note because I used 39 colours in this, and I don't think I've used that many on one piece before. So I think it was RV34, which is dark pink, I think it's called, and I decided to go back in and darken that. And one thing I do have problems with is sort of like, I want to call it like shaped shading. It's easy enough to do like linear shading like I have done, but when I wanted to do something like a spot highlight, I found it harder to do in Copic. That's obviously just because I'm a complete amateur with them. I've only been using Copics properly because I never had the confidence before, even though I owned quite a few, and I never really had the confidence to use them before. But I decided to try and do spot highlights, and it didn't work, and it was just it didn't work. Oh yeah, here's where I started going in with the RV34, and again it skipped a bit. You didn't see some of that because my camera died, so it dies 3 times as far as I'm aware. It was really annoying because I was really quite pleased with myself for taking the risk with the purple, because it paid off, I think, in the end. I just thought of how the background was going to look, and I thought it needs some more depth into it. But yeah, I never really had the confidence to do like some of the shading that I see other YouTube artists do, and I think I need to just push myself a bit more, so I'll try that in my next one, hopefully. There's me using E04 again. I love that pen. I don't have a refill for it. I'm surprised it's lasted as long as it has, to be honest, because I do tend to use it quite a lot. Oh yeah, I went over with the blue there. I was absolutely gutted, so I had to go in with the colourless blender and push that back in. And it looked like she was crying. So I had to I had to go back over with the skin Copic. I'll talk a little bit about the Metroid Prime games actually, because I've only played through Metroid Prime 3. I do actually own the trilogy for Metroid Prime, but I am so stuck on Metroid Prime 1, it's not even funny. Every time I plug it in, I put it on the Wii, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to do it, and I'm just like, where am I? What am I doing? It's just one of those points in a game where you just think, oh man, I just need to start again. I need to start all over again. So I think I'm just gonna wipe my data and start again with Metroid, because I don't even know like how to look it up in a walkthrough. I just don't know where I am. So I do really like the games, and Metroid Prime 3 I fell in love with, and I'd never played a Metroid game before, but I always wanted to, and I love it so much. It's probably one of my top 20, Metroid Prime 3. Here I'm using Frisk film to outline Samus, and I'm very, very amateurish with airbrushing and masking, so please forgive any mistakes. I just went around with a Sharpie, traced her out, and then stuck her down with the Frisk film. Made sure she was all aligned, and then there you go, it skips. I did the corners with B99, Agat, and C10, I think it was, C10. And I just used a torn up piece of paper to create what I call space clouds. I looked up pictures of nebulae, and I think that's how you pronounce the plural, I hope so, oh my gosh. And I looked up how to what nebulae look like, and I just tore along a piece of paper and created space clouds. And I was quite chuffed with the result actually, but my RV06 Cerise went everywhere. I don't know why in the airbrush, it just went everywhere, and I've got pens covered in it now, so yeah, so then I just used white acrylic to do a few stars, and my Frisk film moved while I was airbrushing, and so I got this kind of like white shadow, and I had to sort of very hurriedly fill it in. But I don't think it looks too bad, and so here you go, here's the final piece. I really enjoyed working on it, and I should be making prints of it pretty soon. It'll be available, you can see the works in progress on Patreon if you become one of my patrons. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys.